amazing, cool. So what would you say, what was it kind of like where you was at before we started working together?
I would definitely say nothing was happening apart from me eating loads. I didn't know how much I should be eating. I didn't know what portion control really was.
Okay.
I never read like how much proteins in this. I had no knowledge of protein, carbs, fats. I had no knowledge of any of that stuff. I exercised. I was doing things that I wasn't seeing results with. And I mean, I probably wasn't giving it time to see results, but still, I don't think I was doing things that would have made me see results anyway in the first place. So yeah, I was kind of in limbo, but didn't know I was in limbo at the time.
Okay, so it's kind of like you was at a point where you just kind of didn't know where next
Yeah.
to go. So like, what were sort of like your biggest concerns before sort of taking the leap to sign on with Chef as Gold?
My biggest concerns probably were, will this work? Will I be consistent? Will I, stay motivated? Will someone holding me accountable? Will it work for me? So I guess those are my main questions, like, will it actually work?
Yeah. Do you feel like there was like a financial point that was holding you back as well to kind of starting?
Yeah, I feel like it appears like a lot of money when the figure said to you, like, as is. It can feel like that's a lot of money, but when you get into it, you realize you're investing in your health essentially, and so it's worth it. I mean, even if you break it down, how many, like, daily, the cost daily is like, less than £10 a day, for example, whatever. So initially it can hold you back, but I think once you look at the bigger picture, the bigger scope of things, then you realize it's worth it, especially when you're at this point where you see results as well. So yeah.
We'll talk about your results in a second. So like, what do you say changed for you in order to make you take the leap?
Being really unhappy with myself, getting to the biggest I'd ever got. Just not necessarily comparing myself to others, but comparing myself to the old me. Like, I got to a place where I thought, I'm unhappy when I buy new clothes, see myself in the mirror, that kind of thing. Always like hiding my, like, if I wear a skirt and a top, like having a scarf on so you can't see my stomach. Like, there was loads of things I was doing consciously that I didn't really like. So it was like, I need to do something about this before it gets worse. And I guess another thing is being in lockdown just before so in lockdown, like a month into it or whatever, my work skirts couldn't fit me, and it was just like, I don't fancy buying a new wardrobe, so I need to do something about this.
Yeah.
So I think that was another thing as well.
So with that being said, like, how did you feel after you took the leap? Like, what was your honest sort of things that was going through your head?
It was quite exciting at first. I was really like into the tracking. I was really excited to see what these workouts would entail because it was all new to me and so forth. It was definitely difficult. There was exercises to begin with that I couldn't do, especially when I did like, I don't know if it's called a bleep test. I can't remember when the first test that
The
you do.
online movement test, yeah.
Yeah, the movement test.
Yeah.
I was just like horrified at what I saw in the videos, but I knew that I had to do this to get past where I was. So at first, I mean, with the tracking stuff, it was fun, and with the exercising and seeing myself, I was probably a bit uncomfortable. But then I just got used to it, knowing that this is my starting point, but that won't be my ending point.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Amazing. So like, let's get into like the fun stuff. So obviously I have the nitty gritty biometrics in terms of your actual progress, but without even sort of addressing that right now, like, what kind of progress did you see over the 90 days, whether it was specific numbers or just changes within yourself?
I think so. Obviously, I saw my kilograms, how much I weighed going down. But then I think when I learned about pounds, like switching it to pounds, realizing actually how much weight I was actually losing was insane.
Yeah.
Like 1 kilogram sounds small, but when it's in pounds, it's like, that's crazy. It's a crazy amount to lose.
Yeah.
And I just never saw that being possible prior to working with you. I think also just even now I'm back to work, my work skirts are like spinning because they're like a bit big for me. So it's
now you have to buy new ones anyways.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
anyway, I do. So for me, it's that physical. I have seen a physical change, but also my determination. I've realized how much more strong-willed I am than I thought. when it comes to food as well, which is something that I could just sit there and eat the whole tub of ice cream. But now I'm like, not, I'm cautious of how much I eat, but not in a negative way. It's more of a, I can have this today, but I need to make sure all the rest is good as well.
Just
So
that
yeah, it's finding
balance.
that balance. Yeah, which I didn't have before.
So if we sort of go back to your results, essentially, like you lost 8 kg, which is frigging
Yeah,
insane. Okay, and for
yeah,
anyone who works in pounds, we're looking at around 20 to
yeah,
22 pounds, which is crazy. And like
yeah.
weight loss, let's be honest, like it comes to a lot of people and we see it a lot. But like while you was losing the weight, like how did you actually feel? Did you feel restricted? Did you feel hungry? Like how did you actually feel while the weight was going down?
I think I never felt hungry, which I was very surprised about. Like when you see the calorie number, you think, well, if you don't know anything, you don't know any better. But you think, okay, this might, what does 100, I mean, 1,000, 600 calories look like? You don't know until you start trying. So there was never a time where I went hungry. And that's the knowledge you kind of instilled how to eat as well. So not what, but also how.
Yeah.
Things that would keep me fuller for longer. Um, just even how I can make sure by the time I get to having dessert, I fueled myself right, as you would say, to be able to do that. So the one thing I was so happy about is I was never hungry. Even when I did have those off days where I probably ate more nonsense than I should have, I still had done the prior work so that I didn't go to sleep hungry.
Yeah.
So
And you
yeah,
were still on track and you didn't mess up
yeah,
or anything like that. Yeah. It's important to understand that it works as like a continuum, and it's not like one, as you know, one meal is not going to mess you up. It's about
yeah,
what around it looks like and sort of
mm-hmm.
the rest of the week and everything, which is insane. And I know sort of when you first came anyways, your belly was always a massive sort
Yeah,
of thing for you as well.
mm-hmm.
And just understanding with the fact that you lost a lot of your weight around places that wasn't your stomach, right? To
Yeah,
just be completely honest. So like how do you
mm-hmm.
feel about that? Even though you did see progress in your waist, like your body as a whole, like how has that been for you in terms of its progression?
I definitely think I was hung up on the fact that it wasn't coming from my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel I'm at a place where I can now see changes that I couldn't initially see. So it might not be exactly where I wanted, but the fact that I've gained so much more from the knowledge I've had, that I understand it will go eventually, and it wouldn't have if I didn't join.
Yeah.
So though it's not where I would like it, it's on the journey to where I like it. So I feel like I've become comfortable in the fact that it is going to happen, and I feel quite strong-willed about it. So
Do you
even though it went
feel
from even though it
no,
went
go
from
on.
other places, I can still see a change there anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. You lost two
Yeah,
inches of it. Like it's a lot. It's just
yeah,
obviously in comparison to losing sort of like over 8 kg.
yeah.
I understood why your mind shifted there, and you were
Hmm.
constantly like, like what's going on?
Hmm.
So like with that in mind, and you saying sort of it's a journey for you, do you feel confident now to sort of move forward and still progress on your own without me?
Yeah, I do feel really confident. I feel like I've taken the knowledge I've had in this 12 weeks, not necessarily thinking, can I do this on my own? But I guess in the last week or two, I was thinking, I feel empowered enough to be like, okay, I'm going to continue and not slip
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a 12 weeks worth it. And I guess only in the last 2 weeks, I've been thinking, I can actually do this on my own. So it's quite empowering.
Amazing. So like what would you say to anyone who's like on the fence about like joining Shante and Sculpt and don't know whether like they should take the leap?
I definitely think if it was me 6 months ago, I would have been like, do it, because at the end of the day, you will learn so much that is not just important for yourself, but even as far as when you have children yourself or whatever, or family members, you can share how to be in better health,
Yeah.
not just in physically, but even mentally. Like you have a lot of training on time management and just different things that you wouldn't think go into your health or
Like
fitness
mindset and
journey.
mental health
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
motivation. So it's not, you're not just getting the physical, you get the mental as well, which I think is great. So definitely worth doing.
Amazing. Thank you, lovely. I'm
That's all right.
gonna